Hey guys, welcome to the second and third educational principle in the Frank Partnership. I've merged the two because they go really well together. So let's kick off with some fantastic geography. Here is my geography teacher would have been proud of this. My drawing of there's Wales, there's England, there's Liverpool. We've got Ireland here, and this is the States. And that's New York. I should add New York because I'm sure it's jumping out at you that this is New York City there. Okay, so this is all about destination mastery, of being in control of where you're headed, and in terms of being in control of your journey towards success. So that's very contrary to what most people do in their lives. Most people stand where they are living and they read the newspaper, they listen to the radio, they watch TV, all of which is a tirade of negativity, and they moan. They moan about the economy, they moan about the school system, the NHS, they moan about their job, their employer, their friends. Everything, the whole world is rubbish. They moan about their own lives. That is very, very common. As we know, that doesn't help, because what you're doing there, what those people are doing, is they are focusing on what they don't want, and your unconscious mind will seek out and get you more of what you focus on. So it's really, really important, if you are wanting to improve yourself, if you're wanting to better your situation in your life, that you focus on what you do want. And that's where destination mastery comes in. So let's use an example. Let's say that we are living in Liverpool. No, nothing against Liverpudlians, it just fitted in with my geography. So we're living in Liverpool, and we look at our own lives positively, but decide that we want to better them, and we want to metaphorically improve them to the point where we're living in New York. Not that we want to go and live in the States or anything like that, but we want to get to New York City, and we set out our destination. So we say really clearly to ourselves, this is my life today, and this is my life at some predetermined point in the future. Always important to make it a SMART goal, and we'll come on to that in a later educational principle. So we make some preparations, we plan our journey. So let's say that we live a couple of miles to the east of the Wirral, and we pack our rucksack, and we take our map and our compass, and we decide that we're gonna walk to the coast, and then we're gonna buy a rowing boat, and we're gonna row to Ireland. We're gonna walk across Ireland, and we're going to then buy a sailing boat and sail across the Atlantic. Metaphorically, basically, you make a plan for your the achievement of your goals. That's the metaphor here. So you start walking, you pack your backpack, you put your tent in it, your sleeping bag, and you start walking. And you get a little way down the road, and a friend drives past you, pulls over and says, Frank, you look like you're on a journey. Can I help you on that journey? You say, yeah, absolutely, that'd be brilliant. I'm going to the coast, I'm going to this town here where I'm going to buy a rowing boat. And he says, well, that's a little out of my way, but I'll help you. I'll drive you there. So you get a lift. So it helps you on your journey. And that is what happens when you are clear on your destination. When you are crystal clear on where you are headed, you attract people who are going to help you on that journey, because people like definiteness, people like passion, people want to help when they know how to help. So you will find that things will accelerate your journey towards your destination. So you get to the town where you're going to buy the rowing boat, you buy the rowing boat, you buy some provisions, you get in your rowing boat, and you start rowing. So you start your journey, and you start rowing. So we actually started over here, and we did some walking, and we got a bit of a helping hand because the friend picked us up and drove us along. And you get a massive storm, and the storm blows you off course, and you start going north. Now your plan, if you remember, was to go all the way to Ireland and walk across Ireland. However, you get blown off course, and these big waves are coming up, and you get to the top of a wave and you look down and you can see all these big waves lined up ahead of you going towards Ireland. And then you look up here back towards the mainland, and it's all calm, and you think, well, I could just slide down this wave and row back to the mainland. That is what would happen if you weren't crystal clear on your destination. But because you are crystal clear on your destination, you recognize that even though it's a more comfortable journey going backwards, it will take you further from your destination. And so you plow on. And so you plow on with your journey in the right direction, even though it's slow going and it's hard. So earlier we got some help. Now we're facing some adversity in our metaphorical journey. But because we have clarity of destination, we keep moving in the right direction. And unbeknown to us, there's a big current. I'm making this up. For the meteorologists out there, I'm not sure there's a current here, okay? But a big current catches us, and it takes us down here, surprisingly, down to Anglesey. So you reach Anglesey. Now, Anglesey, this is a compliment for the Welshmen amongst you, is a lovely place. And you beach your boat, and you set up your tent, and you're on a lovely beach, and you think, this is actually a really nice place. I prefer this to where I've come from. I think maybe I'll stay here permanently. And that's what lots of people would do. They better themselves slightly, and then they think, well, this is better. I don't want to risk going back, so I'll stay here. But because you have definiteness of purpose, because you are definite in your purpose, easy for me to say, you're not going to settle for slightly better. Even though you haven't yet reached Ireland and you are really disappointed that the current took you down to Anglesey, even though Anglesey is a nice place, you are still going to continue your journey. You might take a few days, you might recuperate, reprovision, etc., but then you're going to leave. So you start rowing, and you actually end up here in Dublin, for example, rather than further north where you expected to be. But you beach your rowing boat, you sell it, and you walk across Ireland. And again, you might get a lift, or you might have all your stuff stolen. The journey will have ups and downs, but you know where you're going, so you continue to go there. You get to the west coast of Ireland, Galloway perhaps, and you buy your sailing boat and you sail across the Atlantic. Now, you set off sailing. People often say this to me when they start their journey on goal setting, when they haven't set 10-year goals before, when they haven't written their life dreams before. And they say, well, what happens, Frank, if I change my mind? And that might happen. So let's say that you're on a journey here and you meet another sailing boat and you decide to have dinner with them. And they say that they're from, I don't know, Florida, down here. And you think, oh, Florida sounds amazing. I love the idea of the sunshine and the lovely beaches. That sounds much better than New York. Well, that's easy. You just change direction and start going down here. But can you see, this journey isn't wasted. It was bringing you closer to your destination. It is highly, highly unlikely that you're going to set off for New York and metaphorically then change your mind and decided you wanted to end up in Norfolk, which would be the directly opposite direction. Our goals are, once we set our goals, as we get closer to them, we often refine them. We often clarify precisely where our destination is going to be. And that is absolutely fine, because the journey so far is moving you in the broad direction of your goals, and then you can refine and focus in, hone in on the precise destination as you get closer to it. And so that is my, and of course you might have more storms, you might have a tailwind blowing you into to port, which might be amazing. You might bump into another boat that gives you a lift. You don't know what's going to happen on your journey, but you have your map, you have your compass, you have your plan, and regardless of what happens, storms or currents or winds, you are going to make progress towards your destination. So that's the second educational principle. The third one, which is a very short one, which I just want to share with you, is actually of a jumbo jet flying from Liverpool to New York City. And they will set out in a very similar fashion with a flight plan. So they will decide that this is their flight plan from John Lennon Airport in Liverpool over to JFK in New York, as an example. Amazingly, they are only on course about 3% of the time. Throughout the journey, they are to one side or the other of their flight plan, or above their desired cruising altitude or slightly below it, and the autopilot keeps bringing them back on, and then it goes slightly overcompensates and it comes back on, and then it slightly overcompensates and comes back on. But because they are crystal clear in their flight plan, in their destination mastery of how they're going to, where they're going to, and how they're going to get there, regardless of the deviation, they land on the right airport, they land on the right airstrip when they get to the States. And that's my point. You can get blown off course, you can have adversity strike, but it's okay because you can just course correct. You can get blown down to Anglesey, which you never expected to get to. You could get blown from Liverpool onto the North Welsh coast and walk along. It doesn't matter. You will still get to your destination if you are crystal clear in where you are going. Thanks, guys. Enjoy living on purpose.